The Miami Dolphins haven't played a regular season game in Philadelphia since 1996. They take on the 4-5 Eagles today. Experience the NFL on CBS, brought to you in high definition by Sony. It is a chilly 41 degrees here in Philadelphia. The wind is out of the northeast and feeling every bit those 15 miles an hour. Cam Cameron, last 5 years, the offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. First year for the winless Dolphins. Andy Reid has taken his Eagles to the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years. 9th season as the coach. Came from Green Bay. The rain is falling on the kicker, David Akers, who will boot this one away. Akers, a 3-time Pro Bowler and undrafted out of Louisville. And there is Ted Ginn Jr., a 2-time All-America and a rookie from Ohio State. Last week, a win in Washington for Philadelphia. And for the Dolphins, a loss at home to Buffalo. Who's the pressure on today, the winless team or the team in the playoff race?
I tell you what, I think it's on Philadelphia. Miami had a great week of practice. They're looking for their first win.
With the win from the 5, Ginn. And hit by Ocelio Hansen, brought down at about the 33-yard line on a 28-yard return. This takes us to the Miami offense and their rookie quarterback, John Beck, making his first career start. He is the 3rd different quarterback this season for Miami. Buffalo Bills with the rain coming down from the 34, 1st and 10, and a couple tight ends. Chapman. And brought down by Gokong. Hit by Patterson on that defensive line. No gain. It stays at the 33. Hagan is the 3rd receiver. 4 in the secondary. It's Chapman again. He got a nice block from Booker. And then they gang tackle about the 41-yard line, hit by Spikes, brought down by Bunkley. It's a gain of 7 yards to the 41.
And with a young quarterback, what you want to do is you want to help him out early. You want to get him in a rhythm. How do you do that? Well, you have to be protection conscious. And then secondly, they want to run the football. Run the football in the early downs. Give him some opportunities like this on 3rd down to make some quick, accurate throws.
Hansen becomes the extra defensive back, so 5 back there. Hagan remains the 3rd wide receiver, 3rd down and 3. Beck, incomplete. He was looking for Chapman in the coverage by Takeo Spikes. And they got a punt on their first possession.
And that was not a good throw for your first throw of the day. It looked rushed. It looked hurried. He didn't look comfortable. And there's Jim Johnson. And what you know about Jim Johnson is this. He's going to test and probe the rookie early to make sure that he has quick answer throws. He knows where the blitzes are coming, and he understands the protections.
The rookie Brandon Fields will punt. He's out of Michigan State. And 5th-year veteran Reno Mahe, undrafted out of BYU, is back inside the 20. Now the rain has let up here a little bit. More of a drizzle than a rain. This is into the wind. Mahe from the 19. Wrapped up and brought down by the reserve wide receiver Hagan. Derek Hagan with the tackle after a 5-yard gain and a 41-yard punt. Let's go to the Philadelphia offense and quarterback Donovan McNabb, who turns 31 in a week. He is the 8th-rated quarterback in the NFL. The Eagle offensive line has allowed 30 sacks. That's the 2nd most in the NFL. Running back Brian Westbrook per game than any other player in the NFL. He didn't practice, though, on Thursday and Friday because of a knee. From the 24-yard line, it will be 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. They put L.J. Smith, their tight end, atop your screen. 4-3 defense for Miami. 1st and 10. It's tipped and almost picked off. They had Lehan over there. The pass was intended for the tight end, Schobel. It'll be 2nd down and 10. The defense of Miami allowing 2nd to last 28 points per game. On the defensive line, Vonnie Holliday moves to defensive end, replacing the injured Matt Roth. And Roderick Wright replaces Holliday on the defensive tackle. 3rd straight miss for Zach Thomas. Crowder takes his place there. Pope takes the place of Crowder outside. In the secondary, Will Allen is the lone starter for every game this season. Burrell, the safety, the 5th different safety this year. 2nd down and 10 from the 24. Third wide receiver is Avant. Westbrook takes it into the teeth of that defense to the 26-yard line, brought down by Jason Taylor, hit by Wright on the play, a gain of 2, mark him at the 26.
I'm a little curious with the start from Philadelphia throwing the ball in the first play of the game. You would anticipate against this Miami defense that's been very porous against stopping the run. They're 30th right now in the National Football League. They're giving up almost 150 yards a game on the ground. You'd think Philadelphia would come out with a physical approach, trying to run the ball right at that front 7.
There are 6 defensive backs. There are 3 on the line for Miami. 3rd down and 8 with 4 receivers. McNabb throws to the tight end Smith. Good defense on the play by Will Allen. Smith with the drop. A quick 3 and out for the Philadelphia Eagles. They got a punt like Miami did before them.
And that's one of the things they have to do when you look at this offense. L.J. Smith has been nicked a little bit this year. Just 11 catches coming into today's game. They have to find a way to get him going early.
The rookie from Australia, Sav Rocca, will let this one fly, and he's got the wind at his back, and Ginn is back at the 23. And immediately brought down, hit on the play by J.R. Reed, 28-yard line, a 6-yard return, a 51-yard punt. A second look at BYU rookie quarterback John Beck, 12:25 in the first. McNabb 3 and out on his first possession, a punt by the Eagles from the 29, second possession by Miami. They too 3 and out. The rookie fullback Maui is in there. And it goes to Chapman. No place to run, no place to hide. Takeo Spikes, a 2-time Pro Bowler, shooting up the middle of the linebacker, throws him for a loss of 6. It is back to the 23. Since the beginning of last season, this has been the quarterback situation in Miami.
And it hasn't been a good one. When you talk about the lack of consistency in production at this position, you have absolutely no chance. All the turnover at quarterback as well as the head coaching position. And that'll set an organization back. They have to find a quarterback who can come in and have a sense of urgency about him and start playing with some efficiency.
Second tight end is coming. That's Peel. No changes defensively. 2nd down and 16. It's Beck. Caught by Ginn. Curls up. Go Kong among many that bring him down near the 33. It's a catch and run of about 11 yards by Ted Ginn Jr. out of Ohio State.
See, good protection, just a good throw. The thing that John Beck will give you, he's an accurate passer. He's more accurate than Cleo Lemon. And the other thing is he has the ability to throw the ball down the field. Probably has a stronger arm as well. And they want to throw it to Ted Ginn. That's the guy that has the speed on the outside lane to really separate.
Hansen becomes the 5th defensive back for the Eagles. It's 3rd down and 6. Beck right through the hands of Hagan, who is the 3rd wide receiver. Right through his hands, 3 and out for a second consecutive time for Miami.
And that's too bad because they had the right protection called and the right play. There comes the blitz. You have to hit the crossing routes. When you have them that wide open in this league, you got to put it on them and get them into the transition of the run.
Here's Brandon Fields to punt once again. He was a first-team All-America by the AP a season ago at Michigan State. And Mahi is back. He led the NFL in returns back in 05. The wind continues to blow, and again, this punt will go right into the wind. Oh, coming through. Stuart Bradley almost knocked it away and blocked it as the ball goes trickling out of bounds at the 31-yard line on a 36-yard punt. They were coming through, and it was almost blocked by Stuart Bradley, a rookie out of Nebraska. Timeout in Philadelphia, 10:47 in the first. In the background there, right in the middle of your screen, you see City Hall. A very festive weekend here in Philadelphia. Happy holidays to you and your family with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. This is another possession by Philadelphia. 3 and out the first time they had it. From the 31, 1st and 10. McNabb, good block by William Thomas. Caught by the ex-Ram, Kevin Curtis. Out of bounds, Worrell. He makes the grab from the safety position to the 46-yard line. A catch and run of 23 yards and a 1st down.
And, you know, you can say what you want about Donovan McNabb, but I just look at his body of work, and it's impressive. You know, it's not an easy town to play in, and he hasn't always said the right things, but the bottom line is he's a tough guy. He's been productive.
Two tight ends now for the Eagles as they continue to work downfield from the 46 of Miami.
And that's what they need to do more of, Kevin. Pump the ball downfield. Not a lot of this thinking done.
Westbrook, the flea flicker. Here's McNabb going deep. Oh, he's got his receiver. It's caught by Reggie Brown with a 46-yard touchdown. There is a flag thrown at the 49. It may be against L.J. Smith, and it would wipe off the 6. Bring it back. It's against the Eagles.
Holding offense, number 82. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Well, they're all over L.J. Smith to begin with, and now he is just wiped out with his holding penalty. A touchdown pass of 46 yards.
And that's too bad. They got just the look they wanted. And what they saw on film is these safeties from Miami, they're nosy. They have their eyes in the backfield. You just watch it on the end man in the line of scrimmage. He's got them right where they want, and right there at the end, he tries to grab.
Jason Taylor, I think he's working on Jason Taylor.
He's got help outside from Matt Schobel. And then right there, you see him try and pull. That should never happen when you have a double team at the point.
6 in the secondary, 1st and 20. 3 receivers, including Basket. This is Westbrook. He is hit and devoured. Fonnie Holiday brings him down. It's a loss of 2 back to the 42. Holiday hasn't played in a while because of injuries. Came back a couple weeks ago, and he has made a difference on the defensive line for the Dolphins.
And it was interesting that the Eagles tried the flea flicker early in the game. Cameron Worrell, the free safety, he has a tendency to have his eyes in the backfield, not on his assignment on the receivers, and he gets caught out of position, and that's why they tried to attack him with the double move.
Into 6 in the secondary. McNabb, Pierce, 2nd down and 22. They need the 36. And here comes McNabb, who had a long run last week. He's being chased by Crowder. He gets a block downfield from Westbrook, and he scrambles for a first down to the 31. A 26 run. Lehan pushed him out of bounds. McNabb, who says he's about 85–90% back from that ACL.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is what they need more of. This really hurts defensive coordinators. He doesn't have the speed and the elusiveness in the open field, but he can still be a very productive runner. And this is something he did more of last week. And this is something Andy Reid said, if he could do this 3 or 4 times in a game, it would really help our offense.
5 defensive backs. It is 1st and 10 from the 32. Avant was the 3rd receiver. Westbrook runs into the grasp at the 28-yard line of the former Texas Longhorn. Right, gain of 4. Down to the 28.
You know, when we started watching the film this week, preparing for the Eagles, you watch Brian Westbrook, it's almost like a highlight film that when you watch their offense play. And I think part of the problem is there's not as much production from the playmakers around him. They need to get the receivers more involved. L.J. Smith needs to come to life. But Brian Westbrook accounts for so much of this offense. And Miami today is going to have to be aware of where he lines up on each and every snap. You see him right here.
In the slot. 6 in the secondary. 2nd down and 6 for McNabb. Good block by Runyon. Look at the time for Donovan. Intercepted. It's picked off by Jason Allen. A #1 pick out of Tennessee a year ago. He steps in front of the intended receiver, Reggie Brown. Intercepted is McNabb. And think of this. They had a 46-yard touchdown brought back because of a hold. Now a turnover, scoreless at 7:53. Vote for the 2008 Pro Bowl team at NFL.com/Pro Bowl. Text PRO to 7777 via your Sprint service. You can register to win a trip to the 08 Pro Bowl in Hawaii. A interception thrown by McNabb, picked off by Jason Allen of the Miami Dolphins. His first of the year, 2nd of his career, 1st and 10. It's Chapman, and he is grabbed on the play by Trent Cole, 3 years out of Cincinnati. It's a gain of 2. He's up to the 9.
When you go back and take a look at the interception, just watch Reggie Brown at the top of the scramble. He's going to start working back upfield as opposed to a friendly angle down the sidelines. Donovan McNabb is counting on him working back. And watch him start fading at the top, and that gives Jason Allen just enough time to slip back underneath for the interception.
The tight end is in the backfield. Now he's on the move. That's Martin, the ex-Green Bay Packers. 2nd down and 8 from the 9. Fake to Chapman. Here comes Jaquay Thomas. It's caught by the tight end Peel, and the ex-Charger dances with Gokong, and they bring him down near the 15. A catch and run of 6 yards on the play. As the rookie quarterback Beck is out there for the 3rd time. And the gain is to the 15-yard line.
Get a chance to see John Beck out on the edge. I think it's important in this game, particularly early, to get after this young quarterback. You have to get some hits on him. You have to find out how tough a guy is he. And it doesn't necessarily have to be sacks. The hurries and the pressures, the knockdowns, that will rattle a young quarterback.
Justin Peel having a career year is down. Miami's got it. 6:48 to play in the first quarter. After the injury timeout, 5 in the Philadelphia secondary. Hagan is the 3rd receiver. 3rd down and 2 after the Miami interception. From the 15 back. Oh, here comes Jaquay Thomas. There goes Beck, and he's hit and brought down. Bunkley got him. A couple others were there. It's a gain of 3 on 3rd and 2, and the rookie scrambles for a first down up to the 18-yard line.
And that's what you know in the National Football League. It's not always going to be perfect. You're going to have to make some plays with your legs, especially against a defensive line that can run as well as the Philadelphia Eagles.
Gokong has come back in as the 3rd linebacker. They bring out Hansen, the first down from Miami. Moments ago, a 46-yard touchdown pass and a flea flicker wiped out for Philadelphia because of a hold on L.J. Smith. That's the rookie fullback in motion, Maui. And outside it goes. They're looking for Chapman. That was thrown behind. It was a fumble. That was a live ball. It's incomplete, looking for Chapman. And the coverage by, it's a lateral. The coverage by Jaquay Thomas. So out of bounds it goes, and a loss on the play.
And he looks hurried. He looks like look at the back's not even, Chapman's not even looking for the ball, and the ball's already out. John Beck doesn't look completely comfortable right now. So much of this passing game is about timing and rhythm, your footwork, and you can't be rushed. And right now, to me, he doesn't look all that comfortable in the passing game.
They lose 7 on that play. It goes back to the 11-yard line. Hansen comes back in as the nickel back for Philly. Hagan becomes the 3rd receiver. 2nd down and 15.
Draw.
You called it, Rich. Right on the money. It's Chapman. Moves by Spikes. Works into Brown, who puts his hand on him. Gain of 5. And he's up to the 16-yard line.
And, you know, one of the things, Miami has not started games well offensively. Just 19 points in the first quarter through 9 games. And what happens is they get behind early, and that's not good, especially when you want to run the football. That's what Cam Cameron wants to do. He wants to run the ball. They have a good offensive line. That's what they do best, but it makes it difficult when you get behind, particularly on the road.
And the rain and the conditions and the wind for a guy making his first start in the NFL. What a horrible setting.
And you know what? It doesn't get any easier. They have to go on the road next week against Pittsburgh and defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau.
3rd down and 12. Still 5 in the secondary. The fake to Chapman. 3 receivers at the disposal of Beck. That is caught. Ted Ginn Jr., the rookie. Got inside Michael. Hit by Hansen. Gain of 22 on 3rd and 12. A Miami first down up to the 38.
Now this is showing me something. Good protection. Watch him step up, and he has some familiarity with Ted Ginn. They worked so much together in the preseason, both being rookies. They played a lot in the second half of games, and so you can anticipate him looking for Ted Ginn, particularly early in the game.
Now the fullback has come back in for Miami. Reagan Mauia out of Hawaii. There is a rookie center. Ginn is a rookie. They got a rookie quarterback, 4 of them out there on offense. First down and 10 from the 38. They haven't thrown to Booker yet. Let's see if Beck looks for him. And it's Ginn again who makes the stop. Brian Dawkins makes the hit, the 6-time Pro Bowler with the tackle. It is a gain of 17. Another first down to the Philadelphia 45.
Well, he has the arm strength. We know that about him, and he's very accurate. And the key today is going to be success on the early downs. Whether you run it or throw it, first down, you have to have it, because if you get yourself in some 3rd and long situations against the Jim Johnson defense, that's where he wants to heat you up. Camarillo
has come in to join Hagan as the 2 wideouts atop the screen. 8th play of the drive, and interception set this up by Jason Allen. 1st and 10. Oh, look at Chapman busting free, getting a block downfield from Hagan. And he's down to the 28-yard line. Brought down on the play by Dawkins along with Michael. A 17-yard burst. and a first down to the 28.
You know, Jesse Chapman reminds me a little bit of Maurice Jones-Drew in Jacksonville. He runs with power. He has a low center of gravity, and he really has some good speed when he gets into the second level. But what happens with these backs, they're so short, as a defense, you lose them. They get lost up and behind that big offensive line, and then they find a hole, and they bust it out to the second level.
Gains of 22 yards, 17 yards, 17 yards in the last 3 plays. First down and 10, Peel is back in. He was injured before, 2 tight ends. And a handoff to Chapman. There's a block by Peel and a tackle made off that line by Gaither, their middle linebacker and their leading tackler. It's a gain of 2, and they're down to the 26 are the Miami Dolphins.
And when you watch this Eagles defense on film, you don't see the volume or the frequency of blitzes that you've seen in the past. And I think there's a number of reasons. I think certainly the injuries have played a factor. They've been inconsistent. And the other thing is they haven't stopped the run on the early downs, and that really limits Jim Johnson's ability to dial up all those myriad of blitzes that he has.
Now Chapman has been taken out in the offensive backfield. Patrick Cobbs, a former Steeler and Patriot, is in there on second down and 8 with 3 wide receivers. This is Cobbs, who is brought down by Patterson. There's a flag on the play at the 28-yard line after that gain of 2. Down to about the 24. Jerome Boger is our referee today. A very experienced crew. 4 different officials on this crew have worked a Super Bowl. As they talk things over with Takeo Spikes. It's against Miami. As you can see.
Illegal shift offense. 2 men moving prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
5 in the secondary for Philadelphia. They go with Hansen. We talked to Jason Taylor last night, the defensive end. He said the team, if anything, has grown closer during this winless 0-9 season.
And a lot of it has to do with that man right there, Cam Cameron. He's a man of conviction in his personal life as well as in his professional life, and he's done a good job keeping this football team together.
5 in the secondary. Hagan is the 3rd receiver. This is Cobbs on second down and 13 as he kind of weaves his way around the field and brought down by Hansen along with Michael. It's a gain of 2. And he is down to the 29-yard line.
Well, the important thing for John Beck is just to manage the game. Don't let the game become too big. And the other thing is, we talked early in the open, he can't hold the ball in the pocket. You see Trent Green right there. He's been a great mentor to him. He's helped him during the week. He's taught him how to break down film, and he's helped him to prepare for this game.
Since they intercepted McNabb, they've worked all the way downfield, converting 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 12 on this drive. Here is 3rd and 11. Hagan, the 3rd wide receiver.
And this is a pressure down for the Eagles.
Chapman is back in. There's a block, and there's a throw almost picked off. Almost grabbed by Lito Shepard, jumping right in front of Derek Hagan. It's 4th down and 11. They would have to kick this into the wind. And let's see what they decide.
And see, Lito Shepard is a veteran corner, and he knows when they're bringing pressure, Miami is 1 short, and so he'll sit on that curl route. That's why he's a Pro Bowl player. Good job by Lito Shepard.
They're going to try for the field goal, and here is the ex-New York Giant, Jay Feely. He has made his last 24 field goal attempts on the road, going back to December of 2005. A 47-yard try. He didn't knock any beyond 47 in pregame warmups.
Look at that ball get knocked down.
The wind grabs it and rips it down. With 11 seconds to play in the first, there is rain and there is wind, but Miami says Reed did not score moments ago. Timeout. A McNabb touchdown pass was wiped out with a hole. Then they went deep again. They were picked off. Miami had a long drive eating up the clock into the wind from the 37 after the missed field goal. First down and 10. 3 receivers and 5 in the secondary. Incomplete, short looking for Curtis. He was covered on the play by Andre Goodman. 6 seconds left and second down and 10. And here comes that wind again and the rain you can see in the background.
And that will be a factor in the passing game. It's coming down hard. And what happens is the quarterback, every once in a while, you get a slick ball. And it's very difficult to grip. And sometimes you don't realize it until it's actually leaving your hand.
Nickel secondary. It's second down and 10. That's the tight end, 1 of 2 out there right now. Schobel in motion. The fake to Westbrook. McNabb to Schobel. Get a bounce by Michael Lehan on a meager gain of 4. He's up to the 41. That takes us to the end of the first quarter. McNabb had a touchdown pass brought back because of a hold. He has been intercepted. At the end of one, no score. Thanksgiving night, gather round for some CSI fun and games. It's a crazy case of whodunit on a new episode of CSI. That comes your way Thanksgiving Thursday at 9/8 Central on CBS. With Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. We're in Philadelphia at the end of one. No score. McNabb with a touchdown pass called back because of a hold. He has thrown an interception. He's facing 3rd and 6. Westbrook is the slot receiver. 5 in the secondary, make it 6 in the secondary for Miami. Here they come with Wright and Joey Porter, and that's incomplete. They're looking for Brown. He was covered by Goodman, and they got a punt for a second time in 3 possessions to the Philadelphia Eagles. You've been talking about a wet ball and how hard it is for a quarterback to grab it and throw it.
Well, quarterbacks have historically always complained about slick balls. So a couple of years ago, the NFL, Wilson provided a brush to kind of brush the balls down, take some of the slick and the tackiness off them. However, quarterbacks still aren't happy. And what they do is they get their equipment guys to rub them down differently. They put them in the laundromat, in the washing machine. They get them wet, and then they finally put them in a dryer. They do anything they can to take away some of that slick. This is Ted Ginn.
And here he goes, Ted Ginn, all the way for a touchdown, and there are no flags on the field. He had one called back last week on a kickoff return of 86 yards. He races 87 yards right here for the touchdown. And on that play, there was a terrific block thrown by Michael Lehan once he caught the ball. Watch number 22 on the right side of the screen, who opens it up for Ted Ginn Jr.
And they had 2 kickoff returns last week. You said one got called back from a touchdown. They've been hurting all season long in special teams. Cam Cameron told us last night we need to make a play in the kicking game.
And the extra point is up, and it is through by Jay Feely. Winless Miami with an 87-yard punt return touchdown by the celebrated first-round rookie, Ted Ginn Jr. While growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, he was a national champion 110-meter high hurdler. Then he goes to Ohio State and Columbus, becomes an All-America. Then on draft day, the Miami Dolphins pick him in the 1st round. He was disappointing to start the season. He's had a couple called back because of penalty, but that time a terrific 87-yard punt return for a touchdown by Ginn that ties the longest punt return in Miami Dolphin history.
The last thing you want to do is give an 0-9 team a glimmer of hope on the road.
The wind is blowing, and Feely out of the University of Michigan has to give it back to the official. With the rain and the wind, you can see it kind of coming at a slant there, which is never good on the field.
And when you have a game that weather is a factor and you're not able to throw it as much and it gets to be kind of a sloppy game, big plays in the kicking game can be the difference.
Deep back is J.R. Reed, who spent portions of last year with St. Louis and Atlanta. He was in the Giants camp and let go up and off this roster in Philadelphia a couple times this year. And the ensuing kickoff after the punt return touchdown for Miami. Reed from the 4. And he is tackled at about the 31-yard line and brought down by Jason Allen, who had an interception earlier in the game. A 26-yard return, 14-28 for Donovan McMahon in the second. The Miami Dolphins will open up with 5 defensive backs as Philadelphia, and you can see their first 3 possessions right there, have it from the 32. A quiet Brian Westbrook, and here he goes, busting one free, got around Channing Crowder. He gets a block downfield from Reggie Brown. He is forced out of bounds by Michael Lehan, and a gain of 36 by number 36. A season-long run by Brian Westbrook.
And you get a good job sealing the edge on Jason Taylor, and the fullback comes around and cuts the linebacker, and then it's up to Brian Westbrook to do the rest. And they're actually in man-to-man coverage, and so Michael Lehan has his back turned, and Reggie Brown is able to take him 30 yards down the field. But just watch Brian Westbrook when he turns the corner. I mean, this guy is an exciting player. He's got a lot of speed in the open field. He means so much to this Eagles offense.
2 tight ends and 5 defensive backs, and it's 1st and 10 at the 32. The block by Runyon. Touched by the tight end, L.J. Smith. Brought down by Crowder, 26-yard line. Gain of 6 as we take you to New York and JB.
Hey, Kevin and Rich, take a look. San Diego at Jacksonville on 4th and goal. From the 1, pocket Hercules. Maurice Jones-Drew takes it across for the score, capping an 11-play, 48-yard drive. 10-0 Jacksonville. You know the Jags just 1 game behind Indy. Back to Kevin Harlan and Rich Gannon.
You got that, JB, at 6 and 3. That is the number 3 rushing attack in the NFL. Thank you. 2nd down, long 3. No place to go right there as Westbrook was brought down by Michael Lehan on a loss of 3 back to the 29-yard line.
And this is what happened. Just keep an eye on Michael Lehan at the top of the screen. He's going to come off the slot, and he is unaccounted for in the blocking scheme. And Brian Westbrook has no chance there. That's up to Donovan McNabb to look out there, preview that secondary, and see if there's any chance they could bring a stinger off the slot.
Now 6 in the secondary. 3rd down and 6. Yeah, Westbrook is a receiver at the bottom of your screen. The blitz is on. McNabb going down the middle, and that's intercepted. It is picked off for the 2nd time today by Jason Allen. Deep in the Dolphins' territory, here come the boos cascading down. Allen is picked off McNabb for the 2nd time. And a timeout taken. McNabb has thrown 2 interceptions in Miami territory today. And beginning at the 2, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dolphins. Jason Allen was a high school running back in Alabama and a darn good one, the high school player of the year in the state. He went to Tennessee. He was a 1st-round pick 2 years ago, and he's picked off McNabb twice today. 2 tight ends on 1st and 10. Base defense for Philadelphia. And Chapman tries to submarine his way and picks up a couple yards and hit by Gokong.
Go back and look at the interception right here. Kevin Curtis, he's just going to run the corner route. But what happens is they bring a middle dog cross, and that comes clean. And Donovan McNabb has to get rid of the ball early because Joey Porter's right in his face, and so he guesses where the angle is going to be for the cornerback, and in that situation, he just guessed wrong.
There have been very few changes on that Philadelphia defense today. The starter's in right now. The only difference has been the occasional added defensive back. 2nd down and 8. Again, 2 tight ends. Booker is in there. The rookie offering a block as they go outside to Chapman, who is covered by Gokong. Lorenzo Booker offered a block. He's a rookie out of Florida State. Gokong was on the coverage. It's 3rd and 8 coming up.
And you just watch. These are some easy throws that he's making look difficult. And he looks like he's trying to aim them. You can't aim them. That's a fire pass. It's a pass that they run a lot in that system. He shouldn't miss those throws.
And he's got the wind at his back.
Yeah, and you got to take advantage of that when you have that situation. But backed up, Cam Cameron has to be careful with the play call here in this situation. I would expect something very conservative, particularly with the young quarterback.
Hagan is the extra receiver. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 8. Oh, and there's a big-time hit. Chapman. And do they call it a safety? It's a loss of 3. A hit by Trent Cole, who is number 1 in the NFC in sacks. And although not a sack, because it was a hit on the running back, great penetration nonetheless, and Miami's got a punt.
And I'll tell you what, this Philadelphia defense, they've improved their run defense the last couple of weeks. They're getting better play, particularly out of the interior of that defensive line. And that's really where they've been roughed up the last couple of weeks.
Usually when they punt, they got 14 yards. They're only going to be at about 9 yards here for the rookie, Brandon Fields.
And Philly's going to set up a return.
He is back at the 47 of Miami. The wind will be at his back. Oh, horrible punt. Mahe jumping on it, but look where they're going to start at the 36, a 35-yard, bad-looking punt by rookie Brandon Fields. So a timeout. You can see the punt once again. Eagles will have it at 10:47. Donovan McNabb has thrown 2 interceptions. They had a touchdown pass nullified by a holding penalty. Tough day in the wind, in the rain here in Philadelphia. From the 36 after the Miami punt, 1st and 10. Westbrook. There is a block by Selleck, the 3rd tight end. The gain is to the 30-yard line, and the tackle was made by Taylor. It's a gain of 6 on the play. And coming up, the Sprint halftime report with JB and Company. Scores, highlights, and news. The Sprint halftime coming up from New York right after this. The only score, an 87-yard punt return touchdown by Miami rookie Ted Ginn Jr. It is 2nd down and 4. 4 defensive backs. Now they split the tight end. Smith atop your screen. Oh, they're coming. Here comes Traylor. Here comes Holiday. Here comes Pope. And there goes McNabb down to the 28. All that running. Produces only 2 yards, and he jaws a little bit with Joey Porter on the side. And the gain to the 28, 2-yard pickup.
And you wonder why this pass rush gets home so quick. Well, it's a screen. The offensive line is on a 2 count. They're just going to get a piece of him and turn him loose. And what happens is Donovan McNabb can't find Brian Westbrook, who was leaking out to the right late.
And you think this is a pretty good screen team, this Eagles screen offense?
They are the best screen team in the league, and you know that Philadelphia has worked, or Miami has worked all week trying to keep Brian Westbrook under control, making sure he doesn't run that screen.
5 defensive backs, 3rd and 2. Look at him leap his blocker to pay and take it all the way down to the 16-yard line. He was hit by Allen, a 12-yard gain, and a beauty, a circus act by Brian Westbrook.
And this has been a problem all year long for this Miami defense. It's really handicapped them being able to stop the run. And if you can't stop the run, it makes it difficult to do anything else with any type of consistency or effectiveness. They have to find a way to shore up that run defense.
Now 6 defensive backs on 1st and 10 from a 16. 3rd receiver is Greg Lewis for Philadelphia. Westbrook, oh, he was grabbed by Vonnie Holiday, who's played for the Chiefs, the Packers, and now Miami. No gain on the play, staying at the 16. Here's that screen you were talking about.
And I'll tell you what, you just watch Brian Westbrook, the patience as a screen runner, and then watch the offensive line work downfield in unison. In fact, even L.J. Smith gets involved, and then Brian Westbrook does the rest. This is what you want to do. Get him in space and let him go to work and make some yards after the catch.
4 in the secondary. Fafita has come in on the defensive line for Miami. 2 tight ends, 2nd down and 10. McNabb getting a block from the Pro Bowler Thomas. Out of bounds. Downfield looking for L.J. Smith on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Well, I'll tell you what, he has had plenty of time today, though. He's been very comfortable back in that pocket, and that's been a problem for Miami as well defensively. The sacks and the takeaways are down from a year ago because they have not done a good enough job on the early down stopping the run, and as a result, you don't put offenses in position where they have to throw it. Offenses have really been dictating to them the pace and flow of the game. You see Jason Taylor there. It's been a frustrating year for him. Just the 5 sacks coming into today's game.
6 defensive backs. Avant is the slot back. They bring in Correll Buckholder. 3rd down and 10. Here comes Lehan on the blitz, and again he's got to throw it away. And again, Miami dials up the right defensive call. And look at a slope coming up. McNabb. Lehan has been all over the field.
And when you're struggling getting pressure with your front forward, then you have to start bringing some perimeter pressure with your corners and safeties. That's how you get pressure on the quarterback.
So Miami holds him out. They began this drive at the 36. McNabb hobbling off. We know he's had the ACL last year, 2 years ago, the sports hernia. Into the wind and into the rain. David Akers will try a 34-yard field goal. He is 17 of 22. He has not missed at home this year. He is 8 for 8. And he gets 3 on the board for the Eagles. As we said, beginning at the Miami 36. They'll look at McNabb. The clock at 7:44. We're in the 2nd quarter. They're taking a look at Donovan McNabb on the Philadelphia sideline. He was hit on a rushing cornerback, Michael Lehan of the Miami Dolphins. Anyway, they got a 34-yard field goal out of it. McNabb has thrown 2 interceptions today. Ginn for the Dolphins has returned a punt for 87 yards and a touchdown.
And what happens is sometimes you get yourself in an awkward body position. You see his right leg there, it gets twisted up sometimes. And when you have that type of surgery, sometimes you have some scar tissue that gets broke open sometimes, and that can be very, very painful.
Well, he's going to the locker room. And already a story in what has been a disastrous first half for the Eagles. But only a 7-3 game. In the ensuing kickoff after the field goal, it'll be short. And caught on the play by Patrick Cobbs, who is up and brought down at the 36-yard line. Hit on the play by Reed. Let's go back to last year, almost exactly a year ago. McNabb tore his right ACL while scrambling out of bounds against the Titans. He missed for the rest of the season with the injury. That's when Jeff Garcia came in, and to finish off last season, Philadelphia won 5 consecutive games, took the division, went to the playoffs.
Now he's down in Tampa doing a good job for the Buccaneers. Has them in first place in the NFC South.
Base defense for the Eagles, 36, 1st and 10 with a couple of tight ends for the rookie starting quarterback Beck. Here's Chapman, hit by Gokong. He brings him down. Gohan Gong missed last year with a stinger. 2 years out of Cal Poly. It's a gain of a yard to the 37.
I think one of the problems you see with Philadelphia, sometimes you can become antsy, particularly against a team that you're supposed to beat. And what happens is if things don't go well for you early, you can begin to press some. And I get the sense I'm seeing some of that, particularly on the offensive side of the ball with the Eagles.
Feely started 8 games for Miami back in the 04 season. 2nd down and 9 and 2 tight ends for John Beck out of BYU. The fake to Chapman with the wind at his back. A bad-looking pass again. But you know what? In actuality, with Takeo Spikes right there, watching Chapman, maybe he just threw it into the dirt to keep it away and not cause any issues.
Well, you know what? He was starting downfield. And when you watch him, just watch his footwork. Watch the way he's moving around. He's not quite comfortable, but I will say this. The good thing is he's not holding on to the ball. The ball's coming out, and he's not risking a sack or a turnover.
Hagan has come in as a receiver. He will be the 3rd with Booker and Ginn. 3rd down and 9. And Joselio Hansen will be the 5th defensive back. They need the 46.
Comes the pressure.
That's dropped. Hagan whacked by Gaither. 42-yard line, covered by Sheldon Brown. That's a quick 3 and out, the 3rd.
And this is always a problem when you're in the shotgun. It takes a while to get the grip, and then you have to throw it quick on the slant route. And usually when you miss behind them. You can't miss that throw behind the receiver. You give them absolutely no chance.
So another punt coming up for Miami. Offensively, they've missed a 47-yard field goal. Special teams-wise, they got the 87-yard punt return by Ginn. The rain and wind at his back. Brandon Fields. Nice snap. He got it, though. John Denny is the long snapper. Another bad punt. Down at the 37-yard line. 26-yard punt.
And, you know, you have to wonder if Brandon Fields is starting to peak a little bit. He had one that he was backed up. He was uncomfortable. Now this is a high snap. Look at his eyes. He took a quick peek. And I'll tell you what, these punters are technicians. They're almost like golfers. Everything has to be just right. The catch, the plant, the drop, the placement of the ball. And if it's off just a little bit, that can be the result.
And last week in Miami against Buffalo, he averaged 51 yards per punt. McNabb is in the locker room. They're looking at his leg. In is A.J. Feely. They re-signed him in August 06 after he was released from San Diego. He was sent to Miami in a trade, played 8 games in 04 after playing the first 3 years of his career in Philadelphia.
That the ball was never touched by any player. It'll be Philadelphia's ball, 1st and 10.
There's some question as to whether that punt had grazed an Eagle player, but we heard the whistle, so they had blown it dead. But they've come up with that ruling, 37-yard line. It is 1st and 10. There are 4 defensive backs, a couple tight ends for Feely. Handoff, Westbrook. and drilled as he hits the 41-yard line. Ronnie Halladay was in there. And he Westbrook, the bottom of your screen. 4 in the secondary. Feely. Here they come after him. Grabbed by Ronnie Halladay and hooked at the 44 after a scramble of 4 yards.
I'll tell you what, that's a good job by A.J. Feely. He almost got fooled there. He's going to throw the slant route, but watch Jason Taylor right here. He's going to drop out in coverage, and that's not something you'd expect from a Pro Bowl defensive end who's a great pass rusher. And what happens is A.J. Feely's trying to throw the slant. Before he knows it, Jason Taylor is right there to make the play. He has to pull it down and run.
5 in the secondary, 3rd down and 2 with a couple of tight ends. A.J. Feely off to Westbrook. Look at him dance and dart. Brought down by the 3-time Pro Bowler for the Steelers, now the Dolphins, Joey Porter. It is a gain of 3. They get the first down to the 49 from the Philadelphia locker room. This is the initial word on Donovan McNabb, x-rays on the ankle. And when we find out, you will find out what the results of those are. Feely is in right now. He had hand surgery, did Feely, back in September. So he himself is not completely a 100%. 1st and 10 from the 49. Feely is not throwing a pass coming into today.
Left tackle, William Thomas moving.
He's a good one, too, the 3-time Pro Bowler from Florida State.
72, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Eagles winning last week against the Redskins. They have not won 2 straight games this season.
And remember, coming in, this Miami defense, 30th in the NFL in run defense, and that's been a problem. I get the sense that they've said to themselves, we're not going to let Philadelphia run the football. And Joey Porter, we talked with him the other day, he always says if you can't stop the run, you can't have fun. Because when they stop the run, they know that's when they can start pressuring the passer when they have to throw the football. 5
defensive backs. Lewis is the 3rd receiver. It's 1st and 15 as they go underneath the Lewis, covered by Crowder and by Porter. It's a gain of 3 on the play. Lewis is from Illinois, undrafted in his 5th NFL season.
And this is an offense in Philadelphia that does a good job spreading the ball around. But they're not an offense that wants to pin back their ears and run the ball downhill at you 35 or 40 times a game. Brian Westbrook is not that type of a back, and they try and do things to get him the ball in space, some screens, some draws, some leads. But I think the best approach is to run the ball against this front. 2nd
down and 12. Avant was the 3rd receiver. Still, they have the nickel secondary, and that is chased down by Crowder and by Jason Taylor on a gain of 2 to the 48-yard line. Now, what has the week been like for A.J. Feely? He's a backup quarterback with McNabb, getting most of the snaps, I'm sure, in practice.
Well, you see right there, you don't get a lot of reps in practice. You know that going in, and so as a backup, you have to do the best you can to prepare, whether it be watching film or trying to get a receiver after practice to get some throws. But that is always a problem for the backup quarterback.
There are 6 defensive backs. It's 3rd down and 10 from the 49. Feely for the injured McNabb. Oh, and a great throw. Joey Porter was covering the tight end, L.J. Smith, the gain of 22 to the 28-yard line. That is a first down. Feely right on the money.
And you just watch. This isn't what Joey Porter does best. Joey Porter wants to rush the passer, and so this is good news for the Eagles, having him cover L.J. Smith down the seam. That is a mismatch.
Officially a 23-yard pickup, 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Buckholder is in the backfield. Terrell Buckholder, who has missed 3 of 5 seasons with severe injuries, moves a pile. Roderick Wright brings him down at the 26 after a gain of 2.
You know, we were talking about Joey Porter the last play. The switch from the 34 defense to the 4-3 has been a problem.
2:22 quarter timeout. Last week, Reed and this team played a divisional foe in Washington. Next week, they got the Patriots. I asked you before the game, could this be a trap game for Philadelphia? You thought no. What after a half do you see now?
Well, it seems that way, but when we talked with Andy Reid the other day, he said, I'm not concerned with the letdown. He said, our backs are to the wall as well, but right now it looks like Miami is the more aggressive football team playing with more confidence.
4 defensive backs, 2nd down, short 8, and a couple tight ends. Feely, oh, and he's got his receiver almost picked off. Great defensive play by Will Allen, the ex-first-round pick by the New York Giants, who jumped right in front of Kevin Curtis. They've already picked off McNabb twice today. That was Jason Allen doing it then. This is Will Allen doing it now.
And these receivers, they're nifty, they're crafty, but they don't have that explosive burst, and they're not going to run by these corners on the outside lanes.
So now they've got 6 in the secondary. Make it 5. Nope, make it 6. They got the 6 back there, and it's 3rd down and 8. Buckhalter is back there with Westbrook. Feely, good time, intercepted and picked off by Andre Goodman, the ex-Detroit Lion. The 3rd quarterback thrown interception today. 2 by McNabb, 1 by Feely, and Miami's defense dials again the right coverage on the play.
And they have the protection they want. It's good protection, just a poor decision. And the interceptions are coming in the red zone. That has been devastating to the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, the corner on the outside falls off on the post, and A.J. Feely never feels them.
Goodman was a 3rd-round pick by Detroit in '02, came to Miami last year. He started earlier in the season, after he missed all of training camp with a shoulder injury. So Feely has thrown a pick. McNabb, who they're x-raying right now in the locker room, looking at his ankle, he has already thrown 2. So 1st and 10. Jesse Chapman. And Chapman, who played at Eastern Washington, picks up 3, brought down by Gaither. He's to the 10. We've reached the 2-minute warning with 1:59 to play. You see Jason Allen on the left, and there is Goodman on the right, talking number 21. They've accounted for the 3 interceptions by the Miami defense today. 2 by Allen, 1 by Goodman. Right now, it is 2nd down and 7. After the Goodman interception, he picked off Feely from the 10-yard line. A couple tight ends, including Peel in the backfield, and there's a long pass by Beck, and that's almost picked off on the play by Sheldon Brown. Today playing his 99th consecutive game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's look at those picks once again.
And you go back and look at them. Just not seeing them out in front of throws, taking unnecessary risks, particularly in the scoring zone. And I tell you, this drives offensive coordinators absolutely crazy. You have to do a better job with your decision-making, particularly at the quarterback position.
Look at Andy Reid. And the turnover differential today against the winless Miami Dolphins, with New England on the horizon and the Redskin win in the rearview mirror.
And they're doing nothing to discourage this Miami football team.
5 in the secondary. Hansen has been brought in, and Beck calls a timeout. Now Miami burns their first. They've got 2 left. Leading on a Ginn punt return touchdown of 87 yards, 1:53 in the 2nd quarter. And that's the guy calling the defense today for Miami.
Dom Capers, and he's done a good job bringing some more pressures, particularly on 2nd and 3rd down. I think a more aggressive approach when you go back and watch them the last couple of weeks. They're not holding anything back here today.
5 defensive backs. Howard is on the defensive line for Philadelphia. Extra receiver is Hagan atop your screen. 3rd down and 7 after the Miami timeout. Here goes Beck, and almost caught by Hagan, almost picked off by Brown as they were jousting downfield. It is incomplete. Miami's got a punt, 1:46 to play.
And when you go against 2 good corners like Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown, you have to be precise with your throws. You can't afford to cross up a receiver. Use the field. Watch how Derek Hagan has to slow down for the ball and reach back. You can't do that. You got to put them in a position where they have a chance to make a play.
Here's Fields, who led the Big Ten in punting a season ago at Michigan State. His last 2 punts, 35 and 26 yards. Denny the long snap. Wind at his back. Mahe is deep back for Philadelphia. From the 40. And brought down by Donnie Spragan, who played at Stanford. Best years at Denver. 50-yard line, 11-yard return after the 51-yard punt. Coming up, the Sprint halftime report with JB and company. Boomer, Coach Cowher, and Dan Marino. Scores, highlights, and all the news in a busy NFL. That's coming up next from New York with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan, let's step back. McNabb is getting x-rays on his leg. Feely just threw an interception after McNabb threw 2. They're down 7-3. They've had good beginning field position today.
They really have, but they haven't taken advantage of it. It'd be a good thing to get some points here, but regardless, they need to go in at halftime, settle down, take a deep breath, and get refocused.
Nickel secondary. Feely's got 3 receivers. The pressure is there. The coverage on Westbrook by Crowder, and a flag has been thrown at the 44. And it's against Philadelphia. Holding against the Eagles again.
Holding, offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
And all 3 Eagle penalties on the offense today.
And when you just watch the middle of your screen, watch the hold right here. But I'll tell you what, Jason Taylor told us last night, with these Eagle quarterbacks, you just have to keep rushing, keep bringing the pressure off the edge, because they will hold it and they will take some sacks. 6
defensive backs. Avant is in the slot. He is the 3rd Eagle receiver on 1st and 20. They need the Miami 40. A.J. Feely. Pressured again. One-ups Curtis across the way, who is covered by Goodman, who made the interception the last series.
And an interesting thing is A.J. Feely knows the personnel from the Miami Dolphins defense. I mean, he's played with these guys. These are his teammates. He's competed against them in practice, so he should have a really good feel for these corners as well as these safeties in the passing game.
When you saw 6 defensive backs back there, what was the first thing we were dropping back in the pocket?
Well, again, you have to be smart with throws. You probably know you're going to have some time to throw it. You just have to find the open receiver.
2nd down and 20. It's Westbrook, and he's gobbled up by Crowder, whose dad played for the Dolphins back in the 80s. It's a gain of 5. And he's out to the 45 with Philadelphia operating with 2 timeouts.
You can already hear the boo birds, but I'll tell you what, it's a 7-3 football game. They've had 3 turnovers, and the amazing thing is they're only behind 7-3. They just have to settle down, get back to what the game plan was all about. Getting the ball to Brian Westbrook. They haven't done it enough in the first half.
Font remains the slot receiver. 6 in the secondary, 3rd and 15.
Screen.
High snap from Jamal Jackson. Here comes Crowder. He's got to throw it away to Feely. The pressure has been constant on the Philadelphia quarterbacks today.
And you look at Roderick Wright. He is the one that really snuffed out that screen. And you'll just watch Brian Westbrook. Watch how they grab him. See the left arm right there by Roderick Wright. He grabs, watch, there he is right here, right in the middle of your screen. Watch him grab Brian Westbrook. And he grabs him just enough to take him out of the rhythm. And A.J. Feely has nowhere to go.
Do they have a spy on Westbrook today?
Well, they're very aware that he accounts for 50% of this offense. They know where he's going to be at all times.
Block of the punt. Here comes Gannon. Return the punt, 87 yards to give Miami the lead early in the game. He stepped out of bounds across the way at the 23 and a 6-yard return. And into the wind, a 38-yard punt.
And Kevin, this defensive line, these linebackers, they know what Brian Westbrook means to the Philadelphia offense. And so they're going to be very aware whether he lines up offset, whether he lines up in the slot, whether he lines up in the queue behind the quarterback. That's a big tendency breaker for them. And they're very aware that when he gets the ball in space, that's where he hurts you. So they're not going to give him that opportunity.
Next to receiver is Hagan. 5 in the Philadelphia secondary, 23 1st and 10. And the handoff, and this will go to Jesse Chapman, who didn't play the last couple of years because of weight issues. Came to camp this year, looked terrific. He picks up 3. And he gains yards out to the 25, and that should take us to halftime at will. And Miami probably thinking, can you believe what has happened? Against a desperate 4-5 Philadelphia team trying to stay pace with Dallas and the New York Giants in the NFC East, coming off a win. Now the quarterback is gone for the Eagles, having his leg x-rayed, and the backup is thrown a pick. Ginn's punt return touchdown, the only touchdown of the first half, and look at our score, halftime from Philadelphia.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. Sprint, proud sponsor and avid fans of the NFL.
And welcome back to our New York studios and the Sprint Halftime Report. I'm James Brown, along with Dan, Bill, and Boomer. Shannon, of course, is under the weather, but the score at halftime, well, you know what? We're going to bring you all the action from the first half. Take a look at it, Dan.
And Adam Vinatieri, this 49-yarder, oh, he misses that left. Then one more time, second field goal of the day, 38-yarder. He misses that left. That's his 4th straight miss. Going back to last week, Peyton Manning and the offense has struggled so far. This ball gets tipped by Jared Allen, intercepted. Peyton Manning only 6 for 16, 58 yards. Then finally, Adam Vinatieri makes a field goal right down the middle. Joseph Adai only 23 yards rushing. Indianapolis offense is struggling.
73 total yards in the first half for the Indianapolis Colts.
Jack Del Rio makes a statement early in this game. 4th and 1, he goes for it. Maurice Jones-Drew goes into the end zone for the 1-yard touchdown. And David Garrard finds Reggie Williams on this 36-yard touchdown pass. It has been all Jacksonville in this first half, 17-3 lead.
And Jacksonville just one game behind Indianapolis in the standings. Boom!
All right, warning, some people might be offended by what they are about to see in regards to the Raven offense. How about this? They've been sacked 3 times, 3 turnovers, including this interception, 7 total yards, minus 10 yards passing. I didn't know you can actually have minus 10 yards passing. Jamal Lewis right there, but how about this? Ray Lewis just said, you know what? My offense can't do it. I got to do it myself. I got to do everything.
Absolutely.
He can run with it. Nice interception, 35-yard interception return for a touchdown. 10-7, the Ravens' offense has been absolutely horrendous.
Anemic doesn't get it, huh? Boom.
Dante Culpepper, how about this? This rollout, this long pass, but even better is this catch by Ronald Curry, splitting 2 defenders, going out. Great catch. And Chester Taylor, who's filling in for Adrian Peterson's got 85 yards in the first half. And I'm telling you, 272 yards for offense. It's a 19-16 game. 19-19, Oakland adds on the late field goal, tied up at half.
Miami at Philly. Could Miami win it?
Well, they might if Donovan McNabb keeps doing this. Interception, Jason Allen. He had time to throw, and then Ted Ginn Jr. makes 2 guys miss. He hits the crease. Who's going to catch him? Nobody. The kicker's there. He goes 87 yards, which is the franchise record for a punt return. Ted Ginn Jr., big-time play. Donovan McNabb, time to throw. Joey Porter puts pressure on him. Nobody's there. Jason Allen for his 2nd interception of the day. And then McNabb, who gets hit by Michael Lehan. He goes into the locker room for x-rays, and he is out for the first half. So
Well, Miami on top by 4. Let's see if they can hold on with that. Boom!
All right, the Giants got to come in here and play some pretty good defense. Here comes the inside handoff to Brandon Jacobs. Ow, you want to tackle him? I don't think so.
Brick wall.
That'd be a man. That led to a field goal, 18 yards, 3-0 Giants. Michael Strahan, defensive make all over John Kitna, all over him. And then right here, before the end of the half, Eli Manning looking off. Brandon Jacobs goes in for the touchdown. 10-0 Giants taking care of business.
Unbelievable. All right, Panthers and Packers.
Hey, John Casey here, fake field goal, pooch kick. They punt it down there. This is not the thing to do when you have all those linemen on the field.
Too many
tight ends, a kicker, a punter. What do you think's going to happen?
Nothing good.
Nothing good. He goes
His old man.
94 yards for a touchdown. Tremont Williams. That's tough to take. And then Brett Favre comes back, making it look easy. Touchdown pass to Greg Jennings. Then another one. Down the middle of the field. Donald Lee making it look too easy for the Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre, 21-3.
And folks wanted Favre to retire. Unbelievable. Boom.
All right, here's a guy that was not on Bill Cowher's quarterback list. That's Jeff Garcia.
You like his list, Boom?
Nah, he's just throwing touchdown passes to Joey Galloway. And how about Byron Leftwich? Who was the knucklehead?
He wasn't on the list either.
You can understand why, but here comes Rondé Barber. He picks it up. 41-yard fumble recovery, 4-8 touchdown, 14-0. Tampa Bay over Atlanta as they get ready to go to halftime.
Meanwhile, New Orleans at the Houston Texans. I tell you, Matt Schaub glad to have Andre Johnson back. Texans on top by 4, that late in the second. And the Bengals trailing by 1 to Arizona. Up now, it's a touchdown, 21-13. Kurt Warner hooking up with Anquan Bolden in that one as well. All right, folks, we're going to take you back out to the second half of your games, and we will do that right after this.
Good job, Coach.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. Sprint, proud sponsor and avid fans of the NFL.
The Eagles have turned it over 3 times in Miami territory, but the Dolphins have no turnovers and no sacks allowed, as this game today is being brought to you in HD on CBS. With Rich Gannon and Kevin Harlan. Well, what do you think?
I'll tell you
What's
what.
going on in this game?
John Beck, just 4 of 12 for 55 yards, but he hasn't turned it over. He hasn't taken sacks. He's making good decisions. He's throwing the ball away. The same can't be said for the Philadelphia Eagle quarterbacks.
All right, let's take a look at some of our highlights. The interceptions early, 2 of them on McNabb.
Yeah, and they're ugly interceptions. They're the kind of interceptions you don't want to put on film in the red zone. And then you see the injury right here. And then A.J. Feely came in, and he wasn't any better. And then, of course, the return by Ted Ginn Jr. This really jump-started the football team. And when you're struggling on both sides of the ball, sometimes a big play in the kicking game can be just enough to get you going.
And through 30 minutes of football, here are some of the numbers from Philadelphia this afternoon.
And you look, we highlight the turnovers, and when you turn it over 3 times, you're not going to be in many games with a chance to win. However, just 7-3 at halftime. The Eagle defense has done enough to kind of keep them in this football game. It's imperative that the Eagles offense get going and get something positive going here in the second half.
Rain is continuing to fall, albeit very lightly. The wind is still gusting upwards of 15 to 20 miles an hour. You see McNabb, he has had x-rays taken, obviously walking around, and no extra padding. It looks like he, in fact, is looking for a ball, wants to kind of warm up because he's got the ball with his offense coming up next, we think, in the ensuing kickoff. This is J.R. Reed of the Eagles. And tracked by Will Allen and brought down on the play by Derek Hagan. A 26-yard return. It is going to be A.J. Feely who will begin the second half for the Philadelphia Eagles. All we know is the x-rays were negative. We'll try to get more information on McNabb here in the next couple moments. And let's compare these quarterbacks. Let's take a look at McNabb, and looks like he might be done for the day. And the rookie back out of BYU with his first career start.
Well, I'll tell you what, neither quarterback has played particularly well. But what you don't want A.J. Feely, he's the veteran guy. He comes in, you want him to be able to keep things going.
38, 1st and 10, Westbrook. Hit by Roderick Wright. Played for the national champion Longhorn program down in Austin. It's a gain of 5. Then he's up to the 43. There's a look at Wright. Didn't play last year because of a shoulder injury he sustained in college after being named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He starts today. 2nd down and 5 from the 43. 5 defensive backs. Extra receiver is Avant. Feely. Kevin Curtis. Tackled on the play by Goodman. 14-yard gain. Quick hitter to the 43 of Miami.
And this offense isn't real complicated. The slant route, a staple throw in the West Coast system. A.J. Feely sits on the back foot, holds it, and then delivers a good, accurate shot to Kevin Curtis. Just watch Kevin Curtis, just one step, and he starts working back across the field. Andre Goodman not quick enough to make that adjustment.
Nickel secondary remains 43, 1st and 10. Feely, good-looking catch. It's made at the 33 with the tackle coming from Lehan. A 10-yard pickup by Reggie Brown out of Georgia. He was the top receiving leader in terms of yards and touchdowns a season ago. Caught a touchdown last week, a 45-yard throw from McNabb in Washington.
I can only imagine what Andy Reid said to this football team in the locker room at halftime. I'm sure he got on him. I'm sure he is going to try and get these guys to have some success here in this 3rd quarter.
1st and 10, 4 in the secondary, and the quick run. Westbrook brought down quickly on the play by Pope. No gain, and they stay at the 34. Pope is out of Alabama, and basically a backup most of his career until all the injuries make him start now for Miami. 2nd down and 10. They say x-rays, right ankle negative. He could return, probably won't.
And I'll tell you what, that's not a good sign for Philadelphia, because Donovan McNabb was really starting to come along and make some plays with his legs, and that was really starting to help this offense.
Avant was the 3rd receiver into a 5-member secondary. It's Westbrook into the grasp of Crowder, 30-yard line, and he picks up 3.
Well, this typically has been a very patient offense. We talked about the screens and the draws and a lot of checkdowns in the passing game, short and intermediate routes. And what they force you to do, they force you to be sound defensively in every phase of the game. But what Miami's doing, they're bringing more pressure, particularly on second and third down.
How about Westbrook? He has not caught a pass today.
And the Eagles have done Miami's done a good job containing him out of the backfield.
5 in the secondary, 3rd down and 7. Here comes Feely. And there is Curtis, drilled by Worrell and hit by Travis Daniels. A great catch of 17 as he was in the vice grip on 3rd and 7. He makes it to the 12-yard line of Miami.
This system all based on timing and rhythm, but watch the shot Kevin Curtis takes at the end. He's just going to go up the field and run a deep dig route back to the quarterback. Good throw by A.J. Feely.
Curtis, a one-time 3rd-round pick by the Rams, and on this drive, he's caught one for 14 moments ago for 17. 1st and 10, 13-yard line for Philadelphia. First drive coming out of halftime. Feely, oh, the blitz is on. It's a fumble on the play. Will Allen came on the blitz. Miami says they've got it, and they do. 4 turnovers by Philadelphia on the first sack of the game. And Holiday vacuums it in. Oh, but it was a penalty against the Miami Dolphins and offsides.
Replay, first down.
What a break for the Eagles, who just about turned it over for a 4th time in Miami territory.
You watch the end man on the line of scrimmage. They bring the corner, and I don't know what L.J. Smith is looking at. He has no sense of what's right on his left shoulder, and it's a corner coming off the edge. This is really where they've hurt themselves, Philadelphia. They've had opportunities down here in the red zone, and all they've come away with is 3 poor decisions and 3 interceptions by the quarterbacks.
It is 1st and 5 at the 8. The 3 receivers, the nickel secondary, and the quarterback Feely to Corral Buckholder. Look at him drive into the end zone for a Philadelphia touchdown. An 8-yard burst by Buckholder.
And this takes the guesswork out of it. If your quarterbacks aren't taking care of the ball down here, then you got to be able to run it. And good red zone teams run the ball in this part of the field. You watch the line working up onto the 2nd level, and then the back does the rest at the line, at the goal line. Nice job by Corral Buckholder.
Here's the extra point from David Akers. 2nd all-time leading scorer for the Philadelphia Eagles. Tacking on one more. And for the first time today, Philadelphia leads winless Miami. That offensive penalty negated a Philadelphia turnover. That's a look at Corral Buckholder. He's a 4th-year player out of Nebraska who has had all kinds of horrible injuries in his career. Just raced in for his 2nd touchdown of the season, the 14th of his career. The Eagles take their first lead today over the winless Miami Dolphins. That was a good-looking drive. There were some great catches on that drive, both by Curtis of 14 yards and 17 yards. And the ensuing kickoff. Again, it's short. And again under it is Cobbs. Patrick Cobbs brought down by Akeem Jordan. 7-yard return. 11:05 in the 3rd. Let's see how Miami responds, down by 3. Well, part of Philadelphia, the Rocky statue on the Philadelphia Art Museum grounds. They also at halftime introduced all the great old Eagles. It was alumni day here. The angular Harold Carmichael was here. Remember Howard Cosell always said that? He was here among a lot of his old teammates and former Eagles. After the touchdown run from the 35, 1st and 10 with 2 tight ends. The pitch out to Chapman. There was a block by Vernon Carey. Satella with the block, and the tackle made across the way by Bunkley. It's a gain of 8. He's out to the 43. Well, another Philadelphia icon, Philadelphia's own Rich Gannon, starred in high school at Philly's St. Joe's Prep. Rich won varsity letters and crew. Look how big he is. Look at the move by number 12. Dodging one defender after another. He won varsity letters in crew basketball and football. He was an all-city quarterback and punter his senior season. 2nd down and 2 from the 43. Chapman again. And again brought down by Bunkley, and then he slipped out of his grasp, and then the others brought him down after a gain of 4 up to the 47. Then our research crew really went to work and dug deep, and look at what they came up with. Some great pictures of Rich sent to modeling agencies from coast to coast. And they said,
what an imposter. I don't even know that
What
guy.
an all-American boy he is. Rich Gannon.
You know, it's amazing. You showed that that footage of my high school day. We lost that game. Thanks for that. We lost. It was a championship game my senior year. Last game I ever played at St. Joe's Prep, and we lost. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. 1st and 10 from the 48. And Chapman again. There was a good block by Shelton, who came over from the right tackle to the left side. Brought down by Dawkins. Gain of 7, moving the ball now, carving into that defense to the 45.
You know, the interesting thing, we talked with Jim Johnson. He said they really scrambled around some to find out about the quarterback, John Beck. They hadn't seen him at all in the regular season. They had to go back to the preseason, and what they did was there were 60 throws that he had in the preseason. They went and put a reel together. They cut up every one of them. He really analyzed this guy to find out about him and about how they could attack him.
Base defense, 2 tight ends, 2nd down and 3. 26-year-old John Beck. Good block by Carey. Here comes the rush. Throws it away. Although Chapman got a hand on it, and then there was David Martin in the sights too. It'll be 3rd down and 3. This kid was the 4th quarterback selected. Jamarcus Russell, Brady Quinn, Kevin Cobb to Philadelphia, and 4 picks later, John Beck out of BYU.
And they're doing a good job on Trent Cole, but I like the fact that John Beck is showing some the ability to move around the pocket. He's showing some good escapability, the ability to slide right and left, to buy some extra time for those receivers downfield.
Reed is in the safety position, but still just 4 in the defensive secondary for Philadelphia. 3rd down and 3. Teal is the extra receiver. There's a block by Carey. The handoff to Chapman, and a good-looking tackle is made by Jaquay Thomas, undrafted out of Oklahoma State. The ex-Titan who gets a starting role here. No gain, 45-yard line. And the Dolphins have got to punt with the clock halfway through the 3rd.
And that's a good job by the Philly defense. You don't want to get Jesse Chapman started. Make the rookie quarterback John Beck beat you with his arm. He has not thrown the ball particularly well, just 4 of 13 for 55 yards. Stop the run and put the ball in his hands.
Beck has missed his last 7 passes. Mahe, another BYU guy, is here. He was a college wide receiver. And here comes the punt from Fields, who's had a rough day. Good hang time here. And it kicks in. Camarillo, number 83, couldn't lasso the ball. 45-yard punt by Fields. 3-point Philly lead, 3rd quarter at 8:04. The Eagles, who had to come from behind to win at Washington last week, have come from behind today to lead by 3, trying to win their 2nd consecutive game for the first time all season. 1st and 10, Feely in for the injured McNabb. And this goes outside to Curtis, who is hit by Will Allen. He's to the 26, and he picks up 6 yards on the play. We have been talking about Westbrook today as a receiver. He is the #1 receiving running back in the NFL. But in terms of his runs, this is what he has done today.
And I'm not surprised that they've been running the ball more effectively to the left. There's 2 reasons for that. Teams want to run at Jason Taylor and take some of that heat off the edge in terms of the pass protection. And then Matt Roth, the defensive tackle, he's not playing today.
Tapei is the fullback. It is 2nd down and 4. Westbrook gets a nice block from Tapei. Cuts the corner. Crowder trips him up. Down he goes. About the 30-yard line on a gain of 3. There's a look at Crowder, who plays that middle linebacker position right now. Not having Zach Thomas in there, I mean, for Miami, he's got to be a real factor.
It makes a difference. You look at Joey Porter, too. That's not his strength either. He wants to rush the passer. And you're right, Kevin. Not having Zach Thomas. He has been your leading tackler 11 of the last 12 seasons. He gets them lined up. He runs sideline to sideline. He makes a lot of tackles in the backfield. That's a big loss for the Dolphins.
4 defensive backs on 1st and 10. Westbrook again, held by Worrell. Brought down the free agent from the Chicago Bears with the tackle. No gain. It stays at the 30.
And there's been a good mix. You know, 2 plays ago, 20 passes and 20 runs by this Eagles offense, and that tells me something about Andy Reid. He's not going to panic. He's going to keep to the game plan and keep trying to saw wood. I mean, you can't become unglued. You're in this football game, just keep pounding the rock.
2nd down and 10, no changes either way, 30-yard line. Philo, some nice blocking by Runyon. And that is caught by the tight end, L.J. Smith, hit by Crowder at about the 38-yard line on a gain of 9. Did you see the Ricky Williams reinstatement story, Rich, as something that was a distraction for the Dolphins this week, or maybe even it took the pressure off of Beck?
I think it did take some of the attention and some of the pressure off of John Beck, and I think this is a veteran football team. Cam Cameron has talked to some of the older players, guys like Jason Taylor. I think there's a concern. I think that you have to build trust back with your teammates and coaches. If you're Ricky Williams, that's going to be a process.
4 defensive backs, 3rd down and 1. Westbrook backpedaling his way, and it was brought down by Pope and others, but he gets enough for the 1st down to the 41-yard line and a gain of 2. Ryan Westbrook from Villanova. Well, we talked about Ricky Williams. He did get the reinstatement this week from the NFL. He's 30 years old. You know, he's a guy that has had some terrific seasons and some great plays for this franchise over the years.
Yeah, the problem is right now is where is he in terms of his football shape? It's going to be difficult for him to get used to the speed of the game. And what usually happens with a guy that's been out that long, they come in and they get a hamstring injury. You have to be careful with them.
Fafita is on the defensive line. 1st and 10 for Feely, taking the place of the injured McNabb. And some great pressure. They were going for L.J. Smith. Boy, they had Pope right in the grill of Feely. He can't even breathe back there. That's one thing about Miami's defense today. They have had constant pressure on the Eagle quarterback.
And I'll tell you what, that's what we talked about. Dom Capers doing a better job bringing some more pressures. They haven't gotten it done enough with their front 4, and so they're bringing those linebackers and some of the perimeter people to get some pressure on A.J. Feely.
Eagles haven't won at home since September 23rd against Detroit. 2nd down and 10. No changes either way. Westbrook out of Villanova. Hit by Jason Taylor. A loss of a yard. He's back inside the 40-yard line.
And they continue to try and run the ball at that left side. Remember now, Jason Taylor is 6'6", and he's 255 pounds. And so that's really, if there's ever been a knock on him, it's his ability to hold up in the running game. He's gotten better, but again, if you're an offensive coordinator and you're worried about him rushing off the edge, the best thing you can do is run the ball right downhill at him.
All right, Goodman comes in as an extra defensive back, so they've got 6 back there for the Miami Dolphins. 3rd down and 11. They need the 49. Feely calls a timeout. He had put out his assortment of receivers. 4:13 to play in the 3rd. Feely goes to the sideline to talk with Reed and Morningway. Buckhalter with an 8-yard touchdown run for the Eagles. 87-yard punt return by Ginn. McNabb with 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions. On the bench, x-rays to a right ankle as he was injured in the first half are negative. Feely has taken his place. He threw an interception. 3rd and 11 after the timeout, 40-yard line.
Well, you hate to get hurt, but you particularly hate to get hurt and leave the field when you haven't performed particularly well, especially early in the game.
6 defensive backs, 3 receivers. Feely, way out of the reach of Brown, covered by Will Allen. Yep, that's 4th down, and they got to punt the ball. That was as unimpressive as their first drive in the second half was impressive.
And what hurt them was those first 2 shots, the 1st and 2nd down. They get themselves in a 3rd and long, and if you're Andy Reid, you're guessing, is it going to be a pressure situation, or are they going to drop and play coverage? And in that particular down, it looked like the Eagles were expecting pressure, and so they kept extra linemen in the block.
Rock out of punts into the wind. Ginn is back, and they all clear the deck. Graham is down there, the rookie, and he's going to track the ball down to the 13-yard line. Get a good Eagle bounce. 47-yard punt. 3:56 to play in the 3rd. Another look at the rookie. Beck when we come back. John Beck is the 12th starting quarterback since Dan Marino retired in '99. A punt by Philly. 13-yard line. Make it 14. 1st and 10. Here's Beck. Throws over to Clay Thomas. Good-looking toss to his tight end, Martin, who rumbles out to the 21. He's hit by Reed. He picks up 7 on the play. And he's down. He's a receiver in Tennessee. Green Bay made him into a tight end. And he comes to Miami in the offseason as a free agent, taking the place of the released Randy McMichael, who signed eventually with St. Louis. As you take a look at Cam Cameron, very interesting story about Cameron as they continue to look at Martin. He played college football at Indiana. He was a quarterback. His coaches were, in this order, Lee Corso and Sam Weich. He also played college basketball for Bob Knight up until his senior year when he hurt his ankle and hurt his knee and couldn't play anymore. But this guy was a terrific college athlete.
Well, and he's done a good job, and you know, difficult circumstances, being a first-time head coach and having a team that's 0-9. And the frustrating thing, I think, for him and his staff is there hasn't been any validation for what they've been teaching and installing since spring, and that is tough.
Well, this Friday, the Home Depot SEC on CBS will be in Baton Rouge with Darren McFadden and the Arkansas Razorbacks taking on top-ranked LSU. Those Kansas Jayhawks are breathing down the Bayou Bengals' backs, aren't they, with their big win over Iowa State yesterday. Anyway, that game is next week, or rather this week, later this week on CBS. Second down and 3, 21-yard line.
And Cam Cameron has done a nice job with the quarterback, not putting him in bad situations. They've mixed it up on the early downs, and they haven't exposed him in terms of the protection.
4 defensive backs. Second down and 3. Back with that play clock at 6. Chapman. Bowie with the block. And a nice run by Chapman down the sideline and belted out a play by Takeo Spikes at the 38. A rumble of 17 yards and a good-looking run indeed by Jesse Chapman, 5'8", Eastern Washington.
And this is what they can do, run the ball. And Jesse Chapman has the ability to bounce runs to the edge. That's what he likes to do. He has good vision and a good burst on the second level.
Good day rushing as well.
69 yards already. And that's what they have to do, continue to feed him the ball. The offensive line, they've been together all year. They've started every game together. That's the strength of that group in the run game.
1st and 10, nothing to Booker today. Has not caught a pass. Malia back in there as the fullback. They offer blocks. Here comes Patterson. Pass incomplete. Looking for Chapman across the middle. Coverage by Takeo Spikes. As we kind of spin our way around the NFL. Matt Schaub is back. He's missed some games with injuries, with 2 touchdown passes today. And the others, Brett Favre has thrown 2 as well for Green Bay. Chester Taylor taking the place of the injured Adrian Peterson. 2 touchdowns and 120 on the ground.
How about that offensive line of Minnesota? They've been doing it all year.
Ronald Curry with 4 and 120. Good day for him. 2nd down and 10, 38. Chapman. Malia with the block on Howard, but look at Gokong come in there and wrap him up and take him down. Loss of a yard back to the 37-yard line.
And this is what you need to see more of from the Eagle linebackers. You know, Jim Johnson told us he was surprised a little bit with the linebackers. They've been steady, but they've not been stellar. You just watch Gokong. He's going to fight through the traffic and make the play in the backfield. But that's really what's held back this defense. I mean, so much in the past, you're used to the Eagle linebackers with the interceptions, the sacks, the fumble recoveries, and that hasn't happened so much this year. They need more big plays from that linebacking core.
David Martin, by the way, shaken up. We don't know if he's going to return. So another tight end, Aaron Holterman, is the 3rd receiver on 3rd and 11 into a nickel secondary. Here comes Beck, incomplete, almost picked off on the deflection by Spikes. I just mentioned Holterman, called off the practice squad. In October, he dropped the ball.
And we just talked about big plays from Eagle linebackers. You can see Takeo Spikes. He's right there on the right side of your screen. It's a tipped ball, not an easy one, but those are the kind of plays you love to see the linebackers make.
Holterman is out of Indiana. So, Miami has missed their last 6 third down drives. Shaky day for rookie Brandon Fields. Mahi is back inside the 20. It's off a rocket here. On the 5, Reno Mahe. Down on the play by Edmund Miles. That is a 17-yard return on a 57-yard wind-aided punt. 1:24 in the third. Tomorrow on CBS, in an instant, a CSI Miami agent will go from hero to suspect. Don't miss a new episode of Monday night's #1 drama, CSI Miami, tomorrow at 10 on Central on CBS. Feely is in. McNabb was hurt in the first half. X-rays negative on his ankle. Feely has thrown a pick. McNabb has thrown 2. From the 23, 1st and 10. Base defense for the Dolphins. Taylor is up in a standing position. Westbrook to pay with the block. L.J. Smith with the block, and the tackle made by Jason Allen. Westbrook picks up 2 yards. He's to the 25.
I'll tell you, I really like Brian Westbrook. I mean, I think he seems to play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's an undersized back out of a smaller school, Villanova, here in Philadelphia. I think he really uses that to his advantage. I mean, every time he touches the ball, whether it's running the ball or catching the ball out of the backfield, he has the unique ability to finish plays.
2nd down, long 7. Westbrook, who averages the 2nd most touches in the NFL per game in the secondary, and Jason Allen with another tackle. A 16-yard move to the 42 by Brian Westbrook. Only Willie Parker of the Pittsburgh Steelers touches the ball more per game than this guy.
And I'll tell you what, Todd Harrimans and William Thomas are doing a wonderful job on that left side of that line. Watch the movement up front, and then they do a nice job getting up on the 2nd level, getting some hats on those linebackers.
Dolphins have had it twice in the second half. They've punted both times. Eagles got an 8-yard touchdown run in their first second half possession by Buckhalter. 1st and 10, 42. Westbrook again, a huge hole. And here he goes into the secondary. And for a 3rd straight time, brought down by Jason Allen. He's to the 35, a 23-yard gain on the heels of a 16-yard run moments ago. Philadelphia is moving. They lead by 3 at the end of 3 on CBS. Back in the first half, Ted Ginn Jr., the rookie out of Ohio State for Miami, returned to punt 87 yards for a touchdown. And then early in this second half, 8-yard touchdown run by Buckhalter. That's where we stand right now, 1st and 10. They're moving the ball on the Eagles from the 35. Westbrook. It's by Jason Taylor. It's inside and finally brought down by Wright. He's down to the 26. He's gaining momentum. He picks up 9 yards on the play.
And I'll tell you what, if you can get to the 2nd level against this Miami defense, you can have some success because they don't tackle particularly well. They miss tackles, the corners aren't very physical, and the safeties not showing up in run support.
132 yards on the ground for Westbrook. That is a career high for one game. 2nd down and 1. No changes either way. This is Buckhalter. A block downfield by Avant. And he gets the ball to the 17-yard line. They pick up a 1st down. He picks up 9 yards. He had an 8-yard touchdown run early. Coming up on the Subway post-game show, JB and Company with scores, highlights, and news. Subway post-game show from New York being put together for you right now.
And this is what you have to continue to do versus this Miami defense. They've worn down in the second half of games. They've struggled to stop the run. You have to continue to run it.
1st and 10. Feely in back of Curtis, but somehow he snares it. Wow. And the gain is to the 8. He was working on Jason Allen. He picks up 9 on the play.
And you know what? That is a great catch. These are difficult when you're working upfield and the ball's behind you. That's just good concentration by Kevin Curtis. The thing that I don't understand, these are easy, these are simple throws in the West Coast system, and both quarterbacks have not done a very good job in terms of accuracy and ball location.
It's Michael Lehan who is covering him. 2nd down and 1 from the 8. Buckhalter, good block by Tapei. Morrell makes the stop with Wright near the 7. Gain of 2. It's a good-looking drive. 2nd one in 3 possessions that Feely has put together in this second half.
And that's one thing this Philadelphia offense can do. They can move the ball down the field. They put together a lot of long drives because they have good mix on the early downs, the screens, and the ability to run the football. Andy Reid does a good job of keeping track of where they are in terms of their running pass balance.
Boy, base offenses both ways, too. No subs on this drive. First and goal at the 7. In motion is Basket, the wide receiver. Westbrook inside. Grabbed around the ankles by Wright on a gain of 3 to the 4.
And this is only going to help them as they head into the rest of this fourth quarter. If you can run the ball, that opens up some opportunities on those outside lanes, because what Dom Capers and this defense are going to have to do, they're going to have to bring extra defenders down in the box to stop the run.
Jarek Robinson, last couple of years with San Diego, has been brought in on the Miami defensive line. They go to 5 in the secondary. You can see how they've split the receivers. Second goal from the 4. Shovel pass. Oh, read well by Joey Porter. He played in the Super Bowl for Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. Snuffs that out. No gain. At the 4-yard line it remains. He came here as a $32 million free agent this offseason.
You're going to watch him. He's right here on the line, end of the line of scrimmage. That's where he can be disruptive in the backfield. And I think the transition from the 34 front to the 4-3 hasn't gone particularly well for Joey Porter. He's a better player when you have him on the end of the line of scrimmage where he can rush the passer.
6 defensive backs. 3rd down and goal at the 4. Avant out of Michigan on the move. Good block by Harlan. And it is caught in the end zone for a touchdown. Double covered. How did Feely sneak it in? Some shoving after the play. There goes a flag. Touchdown was made by Avant. 4-yard throw.
And you just watch the job that offensive line has done up front, particularly the tackles, creating the pocket, giving A.J. Feely enough time to step up inside and find Jason Avant.
Feely throws his first touchdown pass of this season, and Avant, who is up for the Biletnikoff Award as college football's best receiver twice at Michigan, comes up with his 2nd touchdown reception of the season. A flag was thrown after the play. And now Avant is down. There is some shoving.
I'll tell you what.
There was a personal foul, which they will assess on the kickoff.
2 tackles.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Rich, but I'm trying to figure. They've been very unclear on this penalty because it was thrown after the shoving in the end zone after the touchdown reception. The extra point, as you see, is in. The microphone for the referee didn't work, but there was a flag nonetheless. Avant comes up with a touchdown reception from Feely, and a timeout. 11 to play in the game. L.J. Smith had a penalty, a hold in the first quarter that wiped out a 46-yard touchdown reception. They called it back. And moments ago, after Avant caught a touchdown in the end zone, a great catch around 2 Dolphin defenders, L.J. Smith was called for unsportsmanlike conduct, and now they have tacked down those yards on the kickoff. This L.J. Smith can't stay out of trouble, can he?
It's an accident waiting to happen. He's really hurting his football team, and you have to exercise some good judgment and some poise on the football field. When something bad happens, somebody gives you a cheap shot, you have to be willing to walk away. You can't put your team in bad situations.
Well, Philadelphia has scored 17 unanswered points on Miami. So they got a small cushion, which is not bad because Miami's offense has been very ineffective today. And now we're getting a lesson in holding the ball, which is kind of fun to see.
David Akers has not had deep kickoffs today. And remember, he's going to be kicking it to Ted Ginn, who brought one back earlier. So
he does have the wind at his back. And my point was that Miami now in this fourth quarter has got to go against the rain, what little there is of it remaining, and into the wind.
That's a problem.
Here's the kickoff. Ginn, 21. It's got some steam. Good hit. That was made by Graham on a 23-yard return. Nick Graham is out of Tulsa, undrafted, 10:54 in the fourth. Yep, it's as good as it looks. We're in Philadelphia, 10:54 to play in the fourth quarter with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. Miami with it, 45-yard line. Now we in motion the fullback. And Beck, the rookie, throws outside to get another rookie. And drilled out there by Sheldon Brown out of South Carolina. 6-year veteran, gain of 3, up to the 47. This has been the last 8 possessions for Miami.
Look at all the 3 and outs. And you knew it was going to be a tough day for John Beck, the rookie quarterback, but just 135 yards of offense. And where they've really struggled is third down. They're just 2 of 10. They've missed their last 6 in a row.
Beck is 2 out of his last 11. Second down, 7-5 in the secondary. And Beck throws. Oh, what a catch. Brought in at the 34-yard line, Marty Booker. A terrific grab. His first catch today. Covered on the play by both Reed and Dawkins. Booker, formerly with Chicago, came in the Agunlier trade a couple years ago. What a catch.
His balls are wobbly sometimes, but he does have the arm strength to pump the ball up the field. You can see spikes. They're out of position. But I think when you're 0-9, you can be more aggressive, particularly on this side of the ball. Take some chances with your young quarterback.
Peel, the tight end, in motion. And off to Chapman, and that thing is blown dead in mid-motion. One of the reasons why Miami's in good position. Let's listen to this.
False start. Offense. Number 72. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Left tackle Vernon Carey was the 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty charge against L.J. Smith, which meant that the kickoff was deep in Philadelphia territory, and this drive began at the 45. And that is huge. And as a former quarterback, you know, you get that kind of position. It makes everything easy when your play calls come in.
Yeah, now, not even if Miami doesn't convert here, you still put your offense in bad position.
First and 15 with the nickel secondary and 3 receivers deployed. Hagan is the 3rd receiver. Beck, incomplete over Ginn, who is covered by 2-time Pro Bowler Lito Shepherd. Thanksgiving night, feast your eyes on a special survivor. You won't believe what the castaways have to gobble up. Don't miss a special survivor. China, Thursday, Thanksgiving night on CBS. Have you enjoyed coming back home again, Rich?
Oh, this has been great. You know, I'm looking at, not to jump off of that subject, but, John Beck, what I'm seeing from him is he's missing throws, and I think what's happened is the speed of the game. It's different. It's different than preseason. It's different than what they worked on in practice, and that's why he's late with some throws.
Second and 15, Hagan the 3rd, nickel secondary. Beck gets a block from Chapman, throws outside to Peel. Ginn with the block. They get by Shepherd. Look at Justin Peel rumble inside the 20-yard line to the 17. A catch and run of 22. And the tackle was eventually made by Gaither, the leading tackler for the Philadelphia defense.
And this has happened a couple times. We've seen it on tape. When Philadelphia has brought pressure, they've been victimized on the back end.
17-yard line, 1st and 10. Still the nickel, still the 3 receivers. Chapman breaks a tackle and keeps it moving. Look at him drive inside the 5 and down to the 2. Brought down by Hansen. 17-yard gain. 1st and goal, Miami.
Well, he's a difficult back to bring down in the open field. Jim Johnson said they had 20 cut-ups of him breaking tackles. He showed it to the linebackers and the safeties to let them know what kind of back they were dealing with.
Chapman has 85 yards today. And a timeout taken by Philadelphia. That's right, catch your breath, because Cameron's offense is moving on Reed's defense in 8:17 in the 4th. Well-orchestrated drive by the Miami Dolphins. A 19-yard catch by Booker. A 22-yard catch and run by the tight end Peel. A 17-yard run by Chapman. It's down to the 1 where it is goal to go. 1st and goal for the Miami Dolphins.
They brought in their heavy personnel, Miami.
Juan Ramsey is coming on that defensive line for Philadelphia. Tight ends are in there for the...
Well, you see Philly trying to bring people on the field.
Leckerkirker has been an extra tackle eligible on the left side. 1st and goal. Chapman down. And Gaither in there. And also a stop by Trent Cole. No gain. In fact, they may have even lost a half yard near the 2. So let's try to get the personnel up there. Leckerkirker is a tackle eligible, number 71 on the left side. He'll stay in the game.
And boy, sometimes when you bring in that heavy personnel, the extra linemen, that is a good opportunity to throw the football. If you're going to throw it, here's the down right here on second down. Don't wait until third down.
Philadelphia only has 3 defensive backs. Second down and goal at the 2.
Here comes the throw right here.
Mawia is the only back. The fake, he offers the block to the end zone and broken up by Takeo Spikes. Intended for the tight end, Aaron Holderman. Third and goal. What a defensive play by Spikes, a 2-time Pro Bowler out of Auburn.
I'll tell you what, that would have been a great catch. That was a tough catch. Watch the ball sail a little bit, and Takeo Spikes does a nice job stripping it at the end.
As a quarterback, what are you thinking when you've got this kind of position? You're so close.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's being evaluated. We're looking at John Beck. How does he handle the situation? How does he handle the crowd noise? How does he handle a veteran huddle?
Couple tight ends. Third and goal at the 2. Chapman in the backfield. Mawia, the fullback in motion. Chapman, ahead, not blocked. A tackle by Spikes. A gain of 1 to the 1. It's 4th down and goal.
And they're going to go for it. They have to go for it. You need 2 scores. You have a team that struggled. Cam Cameron has hung in there. He's believed in this group.
Well, there's not a better 4th down team in the NFL. 9 for 11, and here come the receivers in there. That means a couple of defensive backs will come off the sideline because on that series they're playing defensively with only 3.
And they got to hustle now. They're down inside 10 seconds, and there's some confusion. You can see John Beck, this is a good time for a timeout.
And that's what he'll take. Wisely so. Only the first. They've got 2 left. So John Beck in his first career start, the rookie out of BYU, has his team in scoring position with the 4th down coming up. 3 receivers, 5 defensive backs. Why go for this when you can get 3 and you got to get a field goal somewhere in here?
Well, I think they feel they probably might not get the other opportunity. Plus, they're heading into the win.
What would you call here on 4th and goal?
Move the quarterback. Oh,
back to Chapman. Oh, the beat on it. Jaquay Thomas with a sensational read and subsequent tackle. A loss of 12, and on downs, it goes back to Philadelphia. They had a goal line stand last week in Washington against the Redskins, which was huge. They've had another one in back-to-back weeks.
Well, I question this call. They don't even block the end man on the line of scrimmage. You're just trying to fool them with the action. I'll tell you, why not call a play where you have some other options? And that's a great job by Jaquay Thomas. He's too athletic of a defensive end to think that you could beat him in space.
So they wipe out, which were great catches by Booker, Peel, and a run by Chapman. They had it 1st and goal at the 1. They could not convert on downs, 14-yard line, 1st and 10. 2 tight ends. Westbrook. Brought down by Pope and by Holiday. It's a gain of 3 on the play, and he's up to the 17-yard line. Good day for Westbrook. On the ground, 138. Get a head start on your holiday shopping. Details on officially licensed NFL team apparel and collectibles at the CBS Sports Store. Click on shop at cbssports.com.
You feel for Cam Cameron, and there's such a fine line between winning and losing in the NFL. They are close, but it's plays like that that are costing them football games and opportunities to win.
Buckholder is in. He had an 8-yard touchdown run earlier in the game. Westbrook is out, 2nd down and 7. By Reggie Brown. Grabbed by Worrell. Out to the 25. Gain of 8. 1st down.
You know, you look at they're 0-9. You say, well, what have they done? Well, what they haven't done is they haven't gotten it together in all 3 phases of the game at the same time. Last week versus Buffalo, they held the ball offensively 21 minutes in the first half and yet only had 3 points. Defensively, they held the Bills scoreless in the first half. In the second half, they couldn't stop the run. And in special teams, they get 2 big returns called back with penalties. So they're killing themselves with mistakes, with missed assignments, with false starts. They have to clean that stuff up.
Westbrook is back in, 25, 1st and 10 to pay a block. Tackle made on Westbrook by Will Allen, 31-yard line. and a gain of 6. Question of the week. As we talk about these two teams and others, which will happen first? The Patriots with a loss or the Dolphins getting a win?
I thought the Dolphins might get it done today, particularly when you look at that first half, but I think the Dolphins will win first. I think they're getting close. They've lost their last 2 games, 13-10. In fact, 5 of their 9 losses this year have been exactly by 3 points. They just have to take care of the small details to give themselves a chance to win.
Avant is the 3rd receiver, 5 in the secondary. Avant caught a touchdown pass last drive, 2nd down and 4. L.J. Smith upended by Jason Allen, who's got a couple of interceptions today. That is a gain of 2, and he is up to the 34-yard line.
And it doesn't get any easier. They have to go on the road next week at Pittsburgh, the Jets, Buffalo. And I think the concern with John Beck was, will he be able to survive these first 2 starts? I mean, you got Jim Johnson today on the road, a great defensive coordinator, and then next week he'll have to go into Pittsburgh against Dick LeBeau and all those 34 pressures that he wants to bring.
No changes. The 3rd receiver, Avant. There's a nickel secondary, and it's 3rd and 1. Westbrook, there's a block by Runyon and a tackle made by Joey Porter. Close to a first down, about a yard on the game. Let's see where they spot it. Yeah, they got the first down. It was just enough, 36. Dolphins this season, the worst 4th quarter. The Dolphins, hold on here. I got 18 things coming at me. Let's take a look at the Patriots' schedule.
I'll tell you what, when you look at the New England Patriots, you think that in this day and age it'd be very difficult for a team to run the table. However, that being said, the New England Patriots have as much balance and symmetry on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. The job Tom Brady's doing, and that defense, I wouldn't count them out.
Fafita on the defensive line, the only change, 1st and 10, Westbrook. Fafita trips him up. Brought down in the secondary by Worrell. It's a gain of 3 to the 38. Timeouts now. Miami's got 2. Philadelphia's got 1. And a timeout has been taken by Miami. So they now have a single timeout remaining. Philadelphia trying to win a 2nd consecutive game for the first time all season. And Philadelphia is trying to get to 500 for which is hard to believe. Trying to get to 500 for the first time this year if they win today. Thanksgiving Day, a holiday tradition, continues as the Jets travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. It all starts with JB and the crew on a special edition of the NFL Today.
Well, Kevin, as you were saying about the Eagles, I think they had an impressive win last week. Their first divisional win on the road. And then, you know, they head into the 4th quarter. It didn't look good for them. They didn't panic. And now they come back here today. They got off to a poor start, but they've hung in there and they've battled. And now what you really find out about your team is, as you head into November and December, are they a playoff team? Can they make that stretch? Can they begin to get things together in all 3 phases of the game?
Trailer back on that defensive line for Miami on this 2nd down and 7. There's a tackle by Wright. It went to Westbrook. The loss is a yard. It's back to the 38.
Well,
the timeout.
We normally don't give out game balls, but I'll tell you what, the job that right tackle John Runyon and left tackle William Thomas have done today has been impressive. I've watched them. They've been stellar against the run, and they do a great job in pass protection. They both have long arms. They hold the point well, and those 2 guys have had a phenomenal game.
Both teams, both offensive lines have not given up a sack today, and the Eagles had given up a ton. They had given up 30 through the first 9 games of the season, but McNabb and Feely not sacked this afternoon.
And that has been a bit of a concern, you know, the 32 sacks coming into today's game, but a lot of that, when you go back and watch the film, has been Donovan McNabb holding the ball in certain situations. He has such confidence in that group up front and such familiarity with this West Coast system. He does have a tendency to hold the ball sometimes.
There are 6 defensive backs for the Miami Dolphins. It is 3rd down and 8. You see the personnel for Philadelphia. Really no change, except Buckholder in the backfield who offers a block on Taylor. It's to pay the fullback outside. And he got the first down. Crowder is the one who got him. It was a whiff, though, by Andre Goodman. A catch and run of 9 on 3rd and 8, and a first down. Now that clock can continue to roll as Tapei gets his 5th reception on the year.
Nice job. Jason Taylor actually got a handle on that ball, deflected it. Good. Watch the focus here.
Concentration. Yep. But the whiff by Goodman, and he stopped him right there. There might have been a sliver of hope, but Goodman leaves. They go back to base defensive personnel.
That's been a problem. These corners aren't very physical. They don't show up and run support, and they don't tackle very well.
Eric Robinson is coming on that defensive line for Miami on a 1st and 10. And they continue to run Westbrook, and there's Joey Porter and Derek Pope making the stop. It's a loss of 2 back to the 44-yard line. This clock will tick down. And we should go right to the 2-minute warning because the game clock and the play clock are in sync.
Well, one of the problems for Cam Cameron, you know, they lose this game 0-10. Players start to question when they don't start seeing results. And that is a problem that you have to monitor.
It's tough to sell your program, isn't it?
It is. And when the players don't see the results, they don't see the things that you talk about each week working, then they begin to question. You can't allow that to creep into your locker room.
2-minute warning, 10-point lead by Philadelphia. They scored 17 unanswered points on Miami. Rich in his first start, the rookie back, 8 of 21, 105 yards. No interceptions, no touchdowns.
Yeah, you know, he did a good job, I think, managing the game, but wasn't effective enough with throwing the ball. I think that the speed of the game was a problem for him, and his accuracy, it has to get better. He has to be more comfortable in the pocket, trust the protection, and make better throws down the field.
In this worst season in franchise history, the Dolphins will lose today. Here's a 2nd down and 12. Miami is out of timeouts. Buckhalter in the backfield with Tepe. Buckhalter got the call. The tackle made by Vonnie Holiday out the 46-yard line on a gain of a yard. Now, here are your game points from about 3 hours ago.
Well, we always talk about what you have to do to be successful. Protect Beck. They did do that, but he wasn't really a factor, just 8 of 21. But the consistency, Philadelphia, the ability to run the ball. And then we really felt like it was going to come down to the 2 backs, Westbrook and Chapman. Look at Brian Westbrook, 31 rushes, 148 yards. And of course, he shows up in the passing game as well. He is the complete back that we talked about earlier today.
The last 0-10 team, the San Diego Chargers in 2000. And look at Feely running out there on 3rd down and 11. And he was drilled at the very end, and Feely gets right back up. One-time starter for the Dolphins, didn't like the hit by Pope. And yes, they were teammates at one time, were Pope and Feely. It's a gain of 4 on the play, and the gain is to the 48. And the clock continues to tick, and Subway post-game show coming up next from New York. Scores, news, and highlights. The last winless team in the NFL, Tampa Bay, 1976. And before the 16-game regular season schedule, the Buccaneers finished 0-14 with a young quarterback. I shouldn't say young. A quarterback named Steve Spurrier as the guy at the helm. And back as center.
He turned out to be a better coach than a good quarterback.
He did, yes, yes.
This would be a 30-second timeout.
So, you know, they're 0-10, Miami. You mentioned this earlier. They've had 5 losses of 3 points or less, and it has been difficult. But sure enough, at 0-10, it doesn't make it any easier to swallow.
And it's frustrating, but I think the good thing is he has some veteran players like Zach Thomas, like Jason Taylor, that are keeping that locker room together. And they just have to continue to go out, work on the fundamentals and the techniques and practice each week. It will eventually come for the Dolphins.
Savranka will field the snap from Dornbos. And it's out of bounds. As Ginn was back there. Ginn returned a punt earlier in the game for 87 yards and a touchdown, a 43-yard boot right there. This guy's kind of interesting. He trained with former NFL punter and Australian rules player Darren Bennett. And that's how he kind of caught the bug. He's in the NFL. In fact, did Bennett not wear number 6? I'm not sure. But anyway, that's his number. There he is, and he's in the NFL as a rookie at 33 years of age.
Well, I think the key, Kevin, is to get Donovan McNabb healthy. That's going to be important. You know, despite what some of the Philadelphia fans may think, he gives them their best chance to win. And they are a much more explosive, much more efficient offense with him in the lineup. 5
defensive backs, a little pass, a screen pass to Chapman. And he is brought down by Sheldon Brown, and he's down after a gain of 4. 15-yard line, and that will do it. Second consecutive win for Philadelphia. First time that has happened this year. They're at 500 for the first time this year, going to 5-5. Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan saying so long. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.